Have you ever wondered why 90% of traders fail, while a select few seem to consistently profit from the markets year after year? The difference isn't intelligence, insider information, or even luck. It's something far more fundamental. Today, we're diving into the single most powerful trading rule that legendary trader Jesse Livermore relied on throughout his career. A principle so simple, yet so difficult to follow, that it separates market winners from losers more reliably than any other factor. Has this ever happened to you? You watch a losing position sink deeper and deeper into the red, telling yourself it's just temporary, it'll bounce back, only to see it continue falling until the pain becomes unbearable. Or perhaps you've taken a small profit too quickly, only to watch in frustration as the stock continued climbing for days or weeks afterward. But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the globe. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our future videos. What you're about to discover might surprise you in its simplicity. Jesse Livermore, one of history's greatest traders who made millions in the early 1900s, lived by one unbreakable law: cut your losses and let your profits run. This deceptively straightforward principle guided every decision he made in the markets. Yet most traders do exactly the opposite. They cling to their losses, hoping for recovery, while hastily grabbing small profits out of fear they'll disappear. This fundamental error isn't just a minor mistake. It's the primary reason so many trading accounts eventually bleed to zero. But why is this psychological trap so powerful and so difficult to escape? Stay with me until the end as we explore the hidden forces within your own mind that work against your trading success. You see, when a position moves against us, hope takes over. We hope the market will turn. We hope our analysis wasn't wrong. We hope we won't have to admit defeat. Meanwhile, when a position moves in our favor, fear suddenly appears. Fear that profits will vanish. Fear that we'll miss our chance. Fear that we'll regret not taking what's available right now. The market, however, has no sympathy for these very human emotions. It ruthlessly punishes those who hope in the face of loss and rewards those with the courage to let winners continue running. The market doesn't care about your feelings, your analysis, or your needs. It deals only in cold, hard results. What makes this principle so challenging isn't understanding it intellectually, it's implementing it emotionally. The battle happens not on your trading platform, but within your own psychology. And that's where most traders face their greatest defeat. Behind every successful trader lies a mindset transformation that few ever achieve. While most focus obsessively on finding the perfect entry points, the true masters of the market understand something far more fundamental. Capital preservation is everything. This hidden truth separates those who survive long enough to prosper from those whose trading journey ends prematurely. Think about it. Every single decision you make in the market should first answer this question: am I protecting my trading capital? Not, will this trade make me rich? Or, how can I recover yesterday's loss? But simply, does this protect what I have? If you're serious about mastering the psychological side of trading, subscribe to the channel. I share powerful insights like these that can transform your approach to the markets and help you develop the discipline few traders ever achieve. This shift in perspective changes everything. When capital preservation becomes your primary focus, you recognize that without your trading funds intact, you're simply out of the game. The market doesn't care about your dreams, your analysis, or how much you deserve a win after a streak of losses. It will continue generating opportunities day after day, week after week. But only those still standing with capital to deploy will be able to seize them. This realization leads us directly to one of Jesse Livermore's most powerful practices: taking losses quickly, cleanly, and without emotional attachment. The impact of this simple discipline cannot be overstated. When a trade shows the first clear signs of being wrong, the master trader doesn't argue with the market or hope for a reversal. They exit immediately. What's fascinating is how this discipline reveals the psychological landscape behind our decisions. Most traders treat losses as personal failures, as evidence of poor judgment that must be denied or hidden. This emotional response leads them to hold losing positions, turning small, manageable losses into account-destroying disasters. Livermore understood that small losses are merely the cost of doing business, like a minor scratch that quickly heals if treated properly. They're not just inevitable, they're essential feedback that helps refine your approach. Each small loss taken promptly becomes a valuable teacher rather than a devastating blow. Contrast this with the big loss, the wound that festers because you refuse to acknowledge it early. These are the losses that don't just drain your capital, they crush your confidence, distort your judgment, and can remove you from the game permanently. Every trader who's survived long-term has learned this lesson, often through painful experience. The revelation here is counterintuitive yet profound. Taking a loss isn't weakness, it's strength. It demonstrates the courage to face reality, to admit when you're wrong, and to protect what matters most, your ability to continue trading. This is the mindset that transforms mere market participants into consistent professionals. Now I want to go even deeper into this topic by examining the flip side of this trading law, the equally challenging discipline of letting your profitable trades run their full course. This requires an entirely different psychological muscle, one that most traders have never properly developed. If you're finally seeing trading in this new light, write in the comments, "Preservation comes first," so I know this resonates with you. The journey to mastering the markets takes an unexpected turn when we confront the second half of Livermore's law, letting your winners run. This challenge often proves even more difficult than cutting losses, revealing a profound revelation about human psychology. We're naturally programmed to sabotage our own success. When a position moves in your favor, an almost irresistible urge emerges to lock in that profit immediately. This instinct stems from a primal fear, the fear of watching those gains evaporate, of returning to where you started, or worse, seeing a winner turn into a loser. It feels prudent, responsible even, to secure what you have. But this seemingly sensible approach is what Livermore called the coward's path, leading inevitably to a portfolio filled with small wins and devastating losses. The transformation required here is counterintuitive to everything your emotions tell you. When the evidence confirms you're right about a trade, the discipline is to sit tight, to resist the impulse to grab quick profits. This requires a mindset shift that few achieve, the ability to embrace uncertainty and allow your conviction to play out fully in the market. Great market moves rarely complete in a day. Significant trends carry far beyond what most traders can imagine, extending weeks, months, sometimes years, beyond the point where the average person would have exited. Behind the scenes of every legendary trade in market history is this simple truth: someone had the courage to stay with their conviction long after others had taken their small profits and moved on. Livermore offered a powerful metaphor that illuminates this principle with striking clarity. He suggested thinking of your trades as soldiers in battle. A losing trade is like a deserter who has betrayed you. It's fighting against you rather than for you. The appropriate response is swift and decisive. Shoot it on the spot. Remove it from your ranks before it can do more damage. But a winning trade, that's a loyal soldier conquering territory for you. Your duty isn't to recall this soldier at the first sign of progress, but to supply them and let them advance until the battle is truly won. This military paradigm perfectly captures the disciplined mindset needed for trading success. Decisive action against weakness, patient support for strength. The discovery here goes beyond mere trading tactics into a deeper understanding of strategic thinking. Just as military campaigns aren't won through individual skirmishes, but through sustained advances, trading fortunes aren't built on single trades, but on allowing your winners to achieve their full potential. The impact of just one trade allowed to fulfill its complete trajectory can compensate for dozens of small losses taken along the way. What's fascinating is how this principle reflects a universal truth that extends far beyond trading. The path to extraordinary results in any field requires both the courage to admit failure quickly and the patience to let success develop fully. These complementary disciplines form the foundation of not just trading mastery, but achievement in nearly every human endeavor. Let's now examine why most traders, despite understanding these principles intellectually, fail so consistently in their practical application. If you recognize this battle between fear and discipline in your own trading, write in the comments, "Let winners breathe." So I know we're facing the same challenges. The unseen battlefield of trading isn't found on price charts or in market news. It's waged entirely within the landscape of your own mind. This revelation often comes as a shock to those who've spent years perfecting their technical analysis or fundamental research, only to watch their accounts steadily decline despite their knowledge. The uncomfortable truth is that what destroys most traders isn't faulty information, manipulated markets, or insufficient capital. It's the person staring back at them in the mirror. Behind the scenes of nearly every trading failure lies a common pattern. Traders who believe they're making rational decisions are actually being driven by powerful emotional currents they don't even recognize. The distinction is subtle but profound. While they believe they're speculating based on probability and evidence, they're actually gambling with their hopes and fears as the hidden drivers behind each decision. This emotional gambling manifests in predictable ways. When facing losses, they double down instead of cutting positions, convinced that more commitment will somehow force the market to validate their opinion. When sitting on profits, anxiety compels them to cash out prematurely, sacrificing significant upside for the brief comfort of securing a small gain. In both cases, emotion overrides logic, and the inevitable result is a portfolio characterized by substantial losses and truncated wins. Subscribe now to join a community of traders committed to discipline and psychological mastery. I dig deep into these timeless market principles that separate the professionals from the amateurs. The journey toward trading mastery, then, is fundamentally a path of self-mastery. This represents the ultimate challenge, one far more difficult than learning chart patterns or valuation metrics. It requires developing an almost superhuman capacity to act in direct opposition to your instinctive emotional responses. The transformation demanded here is nothing short of remarkable. Consider what's really happening psychologically when you cut a loss quickly. You're not just exiting a trade, you're confronting your own fallibility, admitting an error, and choosing short-term pain over the comfort of hope. This requires genuine courage, the willingness to face reality exactly as it is, not as you wish it to be. Similarly, letting profits run demands the patience to sit with uncertainty when every nerve in your body is screaming for the safety of locking in gains. What makes these qualities so rare is that they run counter to our natural programming. Humans are wired for loss aversion and immediate gratification, precisely the opposite of what successful trading requires. This explains why so few succeed in this arena, despite the apparent simplicity of Livermore's rule. The challenge isn't intellectual understanding, but emotional reprogramming. The revelation that changes everything is this: these qualities aren't fixed traits that some possess and others don't. They're skills that can be cultivated through deliberate, disciplined practice. Each time you force yourself to cut a small loss, despite the temptation to hold on, you strengthen that muscle. Every time you resist the urge to take quick profits and instead allow a winning position to develop fully, you build that capacity. The marketplace becomes, in this light, the ultimate testing ground for personal growth, a mirror reflecting not just your trading decisions, but your relationship with fear, greed, hope, and patience. This perspective shifts trading from merely a financial activity to a profound practice of self-development. Let's explore a concrete example of how this discipline manifests in actual trading situations and the dramatic difference it makes in results. If you recognize that your emotions have been sabotaging your trading results, write in the comments, "Mastering myself first," to acknowledge this crucial insight. Let me share an illuminating scenario that perfectly demonstrates this principle in action. Imagine you've been holding a profitable position in a stock, and one morning it opens significantly lower. In this pivotal moment, the transformation from amateur to professional happens or doesn't based on a single decision. The untrained instinct screams at you to sell immediately. Lock in what's left of your profits before they disappear completely. This reactionary thinking is driven purely by fear, the fear of losing what you've already gained. It's a primal response, not a strategic one. Behind the scenes, what's really happening is that uncertainty has triggered your flight response, pushing you to retreat to safety without proper assessment. The disciplined trader, however, follows a completely different mental pathway. Instead of reacting emotionally, they pause and ask specific evidence-based questions. Has the underlying trend actually broken? Has the market given me a legitimate sell signal based on my system? If the honest answer is no, if this is merely normal market volatility within an intact trend, they make the much harder decision to hold. The revelation here lies in what often happens next. Frequently, these temporary dips prove to be nothing more than short-term noise in a continuing uptrend. The disciplined trader who held through the discomfort often sees their profits multiply in the days and weeks that follow, while those who sold in panic watch from the sidelines, filled with regret. This example illuminates a fundamental truth that Livermore emphasized repeatedly. The market is never wrong. The tape is never wrong. The only one who can be wrong is you. This mindset shift represents one of the most profound awakenings possible for a trader. Your opinions, preferences, and beliefs about what should happen are utterly irrelevant. The market doesn't care what you think, what you've researched, or what seems logical to you. Your only duty as a trader isn't to be right. It's to recognize and obey market signals. This requires an almost Zen-like detachment from your own ego, a willingness to submit to reality rather than fighting it. When signals tell you you're wrong, cut immediately. When they confirm you're right, be still and allow the movement to develop fully. Don't let either fear or greed blind you to what the market is actually telling you. The impact of this perspective cannot be overstated. It removes the exhausting burden of trying to outsmart the market or predict its every move. Instead, you become an observer, a follower of signals, a disciplined executor of rules rather than a predictor of outcomes. This is liberating once fully embraced. You no longer fight an unwinnable battle against market forces, but learn to flow with them. What's fascinating is how this approach completely inverts the traditional view of trading. Most enter the markets believing success comes from being smarter, having better information, or discovering some hidden edge. The journey of mastery reveals something far different. Success comes from psychological discipline, from the humility to accept market verdicts without argument, and from the courage to act decisively on what you observe rather than what you hope. Let's examine how this principle plays out when we compare those who trade primarily on cleverness versus those who trade on disciplined obedience to market signals. If you've experienced that moment of truth when the market tested your emotional discipline, Write in the comments, "The tape doesn't lie." To acknowledge this fundamental principle, one of the most profound illusions in trading is the belief that superior intelligence leads to superior results. Walk into any trading floor or online forum and you'll witness a showcase of intellectual prowess. Complex algorithms, intricate chart patterns, sophisticated economic theories. Behind this impressive display lies a fundamental misunderstanding of what the market truly rewards. Many traders enter the arena proud of their intellect and clever schemes, convinced their unique insights will translate into consistent profits. The hidden truth, one that Livermore discovered through painful experience, is that the market ruthlessly strips bare anyone relying primarily on cleverness. What appears to be a protective shield of intelligence turns out to be nothing more than a costume, offering no real protection against market forces. The revelation that transforms a trader's journey is this: cleverness is merely a costume. Discipline is armor. This distinction makes all the difference between temporary success and lasting prosperity in the markets. The marketplace doesn't distribute rewards based on who has the most impressive theories or the most elegant trading systems. It pays only for being right and, critically, staying right long enough to collect meaningful gains. What makes this insight so valuable, yet so difficult to implement, is that intelligence is relatively common, while genuine discipline is extraordinarily rare. Many brilliant minds enter the trading arena each year, armed with advanced degrees, sophisticated models, and cutting-edge technology. Most will fail not because they lack intelligence, but because they lack the psychological discipline to execute consistently against their own emotions. This brings us to the essential question: what exactly is discipline in the context of trading? The definition goes far deeper than most imagine. At its core, discipline means doing the hard thing, the unnatural thing, the very action your instincts fight against most vigorously. It's a form of psychological counterforce that pushes against your most basic emotional impulses. In practical terms, discipline manifests as selling when every fiber of your pride screams to hold onto a losing position. It means holding steady when your nerves scream to sell a profitable trade prematurely. It means standing aside when crowds rush into a market fueled by euphoria. And it means acting decisively when those same crowds recoil in fear, creating genuine opportunity. What's fascinating about this mindset shift is how it completely inverts conventional behavior. The undisciplined trader follows the path of least resistance, holding losses, taking quick profits, joining crowds, and fleeing from fear. The disciplined trader does exactly the opposite, following the path of greatest resistance at every decision point. This is why the journey feels so unnatural and why so few complete it successfully. The breakthrough comes when you recognize that this resistance, this constant friction against your natural impulses, isn't a bug in the system, but the very feature that generates exceptional returns. The discomfort you feel when cutting a loss or letting a winner run is precisely the indicator that you're doing something right, something that separates you from the crowd, destined for mediocrity or failure. This understanding transforms trading from a purely financial activity into a profound path of personal development, a laboratory for developing capacities that serve you in every area of life. Let's examine what happens when we take these principles beyond theory into the realm of practical application. If you've felt that internal struggle between what's comfortable and what's profitable, write in the comments "discipline over instinct" to acknowledge this critical battleground. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring what might be the most powerful mindset shift of all, reframing how we view trading losses entirely. This revelation can fundamentally transform your relationship with the market and dramatically improve your results. Every trader, without exception, pays tuition to the market. This educational fee comes in various forms: money lost on bad trades, time spent analyzing mistakes, emotional capital expended on sleepless nights, or opportunities missed while recovering from setbacks. The market is the ultimate teacher, but its lessons are never free. The profound insight that separates the successful from the failed is understanding that you have a choice in how this tuition is paid. You can choose to pay small tuition fees regularly, accepting modest losses quickly and moving on, or you can resist these payments until they compound into catastrophic costs that force you out of the game entirely. What's fascinating is that most traders unconsciously choose the latter path, fighting against small losses until they become ruinous. They treat each small loss as a personal failure rather than what it truly is, the natural cost of market education. The market charges its fees without mercy or consideration for your situation. It doesn't care about your financial needs, your ego, or whether you can afford the lesson. It takes what it is owed with absolute indifference. This reality seems harsh until you recognize the hidden opportunity within it. By willingly paying small tuition fees early, you avoid the devastating costs that destroy so many trading careers. Behind this principle lies an even more profound truth. Small losses aren't just inevitable, they're essential. They are the market's way of correcting you before you destroy yourself. Each small loss contains valuable information about your judgment, your discipline, or your emotional responses. Without these regular corrections, improvement becomes literally impossible. You would continue making the same mistakes, never receiving the feedback necessary to adjust your approach. The journey to trading mastery requires a complete reframing of how you perceive these small losses. Rather than viewing them as failures to be avoided or denied, see them as investments in your trading education. Each one purchases vital information about the market and yourself. Each one strengthens your discipline muscle. Each one keeps you alive to fight another day and ultimately catch the significant moves that generate real wealth. What's remarkable about this perspective shift is how it transforms the emotional experience of taking losses. When you genuinely accept small losses as necessary tuition, they no longer trigger the same defensive responses. You can take them cleanly, without the psychological baggage of shame, anger, or denial that typically accompanies trading setbacks. This emotional freedom alone can revolutionize your performance. The trader who embraces this mindset approaches the market differently. They enter each position knowing a small loss is not just possible but probable. They've accepted this cost in advance, which removes the shock and resistance when it actually occurs. This preparedness allows them to act decisively rather than freezing in denial when a trade goes against them. Let's examine how this principle connects to the equally important concept of risk management and position sizing, the practical tools that allow you to implement these psychological insights effectively. If you've started viewing your trading losses differently, after hearing this perspective, write in the comments, "Tuition paid gladly," to signify this crucial mindset shift. One of the most powerful analogies Livermore used to illuminate this principle was comparing trading losses to physical infections. This metaphor cuts straight to the heart of why acting quickly on small losses is not just advisable, but absolutely essential for survival in the markets. Consider how an infection begins in the body. Initially, it might appear as nothing more than a small scratch or wound, something easily overlooked or dismissed as inconsequential. Left untreated, however, it doesn't remain minor. The infection spreads silently at first, then with increasing intensity, until what began as a trivial concern becomes a systemic crisis threatening the entire organism. The parallel to trading is startlingly precise. A small loss taken early truly is nothing, just part of the cost of staying alive in the markets. It's manageable, forgettable, a minor discomfort, quickly forgotten. But when ignored or denied, that same loss spreads through your account like poison, growing from an inconvenience into a catastrophe that can end your trading career altogether. What begins as a 1-point loss expands to 5 points, then 10, then 20. What started as a minor setback becomes a position so underwater that recovery seems impossible. The revelation here is that this progression isn't merely possible, it's inevitable when small losses aren't addressed. Immediately, the market has an uncanny way of exploiting weakness, of pressing precisely on the points where you're most vulnerable. The transformation required is one of radical acceptance and immediate action. The moment you detect that infection, that a trade has gone against you beyond your predetermined threshold, you must act with the same urgency a doctor would when treating a potentially life-threatening condition. No delay, no hope for spontaneous recovery, no waiting for better conditions. The intervention must be immediate and decisive. Behind the scenes of every trading disaster lies this same story. What began as a manageable loss was allowed to grow unchecked until it consumed not just capital, but confidence, perspective, and emotional stability. The tragedy is that at the beginning the solution was simple and painless. By the end, no remedy can fully repair the damage done. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by revealing what might be the ultimate secret of trading psychology, one that changes everything once fully understood. The great hidden truth is that the pain of taking a small loss is nothing compared to the anguish of enduring a large one. This seems obvious stated plainly, yet countless traders act in direct contradiction to this reality every day. Traders who discipline themselves to take small losses quickly do feel the sting. Make no mistake. There is discomfort in admitting you're wrong and accepting that small hit to your account. But they also know with certainty that this pain will pass quickly. By tomorrow, the wound will have closed. By next week, it will be forgotten entirely. They remain psychologically free to evaluate new opportunities with clarity and confidence. In stark contrast, those who allow losses to spread live in a state of perpetual torment. They carry the infection not just in their accounts but in their minds for weeks, months, sometimes years. Every market move becomes filtered through the lens of that one devastating position. Their judgment on all future trades becomes permanently clouded by regret, fear, and the desperate hope for redemption that drives even more irrational decisions. The psychological burden of carrying big losses extends far beyond the trading screen. It affects sleep, relationships, self-confidence, and overall well-being. Let's explore the practical systems you can implement to ensure you never fall into this destructive pattern. If you've experienced the weight lifted from your shoulders after finally cutting a troublesome position, write in the comments, "Freedom through discipline," to share this powerful realization. As we come to the end of this exploration of Livermore's timeless trading wisdom, I hope you've discovered that the secret to trading success isn't found in complex strategies or privileged information. It's in the disciplined application of this one fundamental rule: cut your losses and let your profits run. The real battle isn't against the market, but against your own psychological tendencies. What separates the small percentage of traders who succeed from the majority who fail isn't intelligence or resources. It's the courage to face reality quickly when wrong, and the patience to allow profits to develop fully when right. This discipline isn't just a trading strategy. It's a philosophy that can transform your entire relationship with the markets and perhaps even with life itself. If you found value in these insights today, I'd be honored if you'd hit the like button. It helps others discover this content and tells me you appreciate this deeper exploration of trading psychology. And if you'd like to continue this journey together, subscribe to the channel where we regularly dive into these transformative market principles that go far beyond typical trading advice. For those of you who resonated with Livermore's wisdom and stayed with me until now, leave a comment saying, "Discipline is freedom, so I know." We're on this path together. Your comments and questions always spark fascinating conversations that benefit our entire community. Right here beside this video, you'll find another exploration of a crucial trading concept that pairs perfectly with what we've discussed today. Click on it and join me there as we continue building your trading mastery, one psychological insight at a time. The journey doesn't end here. In fact, for many of you, it's just beginning. As we reach this point in our exploration of Livermore's trading wisdom, I hope you've recognized the profound simplicity of his approach. The path to consistent profits isn't found in complicated indicators or secret formulas, but in the disciplined application of this one essential rule. The market reveals its lessons to those patient enough to listen and disciplined enough to act. What's fascinating about this journey is how it transforms not just your trading results, but your entire relationship with the markets. When you embrace the discipline to cut losses quickly and let profits run, you free yourself from the emotional prison that traps most traders. This isn't just about making money. It's about developing the psychological fortitude that distinguishes professionals from amateurs. If you found value in these insights today, I'd appreciate you hitting the like button. It's a small gesture that helps others discover this content who might be struggling with the same trading challenges you've faced. And if you want to continue developing this trader's mindset together, subscribe to join our community of disciplined market participants who understand that success begins with psychological mastery. For those who've stayed with me until the end and recognize these truths in your own trading journey, leave a comment saying, "Market discipline mastered." So I know we're walking this path together. Your experiences and insights enrich our collective understanding. There's a video right here exploring the practical application of risk management systems that perfectly complements what we've discussed today. Click and continue with me there as we transform these psychological principles into actionable trading rules that protect your capital while maximizing your returns. The lessons build upon each other, and I think you'll find the next one equally transformative.